Hey amigos, today I'm going to show you how to make this spicy bean soup. I've got this giant Instapot. I've set it on saute for about, and set the timer about 30 minutes. And I'm going to start adding all the ingredients and walking us through the model of how to make this bean soup. Okay. There you have it. The Instapot is nice and hot. It's set on a saute setting of about 30 minutes. So I need some good olive oil. So the nice thing about this recipe is you don't have to get too caught up with all the measurements. I'd say add about 3 spoons of olive oil in there. This is your standard Bertolli extra virgin olive oil. And just give it a couple of minutes, or I'd say 10-20 seconds. And then I'm gonna add some bay leaves in there. Okay, there you have it. The Instapot is nice and hot. It's set on a saute setting of about 30 minutes. So I need some good olive oil. So the nice thing about this recipe is you don't have to get too caught up with all the measurements. I'd say add about 3 spoons of olive oil in there. This is your standard Bertolli extra virgin olive oil. And just give it a couple of minutes, or I'd say 10-20 seconds. And then I'm gonna add some bay leaves in there just to get the spice level a little bit up. Also like to add a small stick of cinnamon. You can't really go wrong too much with this. Add that in there. And then just give it a little bit of a stir. And wait till the oil's warming up. There you have it. Now, I diced up a whole, reasonably medium-sized Spanish onion and a couple of jalapenos. These aren't jalapenos; these are serrano peppers. They're not spicy at all. They're like kind of duds, but it's in there. So I've got. Before I do add the onions and the chilies, I'm gonna do a little trick here. You can get the cool Italian seasoning, and what I like to do is I think it's got let's see, marjoram, basil, rosemary, thyme, oregano, savory, and sage. Just your classic Italian seasoning that you can get in your supermarket. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to add that to the hot oil. And I'm gonna take about, not much, just probably a spoon. Throw it in the, a little more than a spoon, throw it in there in the oil, hot oil. And it kind of brings out the flavor really nicely. And so what I'm going to do is get the oil nice and sort of comfortable. And then I'm going to add my Spanish onions and serrano peppers. This is 1 whole onion serrano peppers. And then I'm going to get some just minced garlic, and I'm going to add like 1 spoon and 2 spoons. No big deal. You're not going to alter the flavor any dramatically. Get it all sauteed out. Starts to cook a little bit. I like to add a little bit of salt at this stage. So I'm going to add like a small spoon of sodium chloride, regular table salt. I'm also going to add a little bit of potassium chloride, because if you're sensitive to salt and blood pressure, you can add potassium chloride, but I don't get too caught up with it. So a couple of spoons. Get this bad boy sauteed with all the spices in there. And what I'm going to do now is move it up another notch. Get some old school Indian chili powder, and I'm going to add about, I'd say that's a pinch or a little more than a half a teaspoon in there. This one adds a little bit of color to it. It's not all that spicy. Get this bad boy all sauteed. Turning nice and red. Yeah. Now I've got, the onions are looking nice and shiny. They're getting cooked. A couple of minutes in there. And so what I'm going to do now is, I already had a whole bunch of celery chopped. So this is like 1 bunch of celery chopped. It was in the freezer. So I'm just going to throw this in there. Get it sauteed. It's not rocket science at all. Give it a couple of minutes. So I've added the onions, then came the celery, and then I'm going to add about 2 carrots, finely diced, about 1/4 of a bag. Again, it was frozen. Doesn't matter. I mean, you can add equal quantities, but this is what the French chefs call, like, I think it's called mirepoix. You've got onions, celery, and carrots. That's pretty much the basis of just about every soup that you can find. And continue stirring it. Give it a couple of minutes. I don't have any fresh basil. I have some frozen basil. I'm going to throw it in there this time. Saute it. Since it's all frozen and all, it's going to take a couple of minutes for it to come to heat. Got that nice color. Everything is in there happy. So we're gonna let it all hang out. I like my soup nice and spicy, so I'm gonna bring in the holy grail of spices, which is like classic Indian, South Indian black pepper. Keep at it until you think you've had enough. You really can't go wrong with this recipe. It's not rocket science at all. Equal parts of onions, celery, some carrots, garlic, some basil in there, a little bit of chili powder, boatload of black pepper. Let it age nicely in the Instapot. And I'm going to add a mystery veggie here. So I'm going to add a little bit of purple cabbage, about a quarter of a purple cabbage that I had cut and frozen in the freezer. I'm going to throw that in. It's like just shredded. Nothing dramatic about it. You can shred it any size you want. Throw it in there. Purple cabbage, white cabbage, it doesn't matter. This bad boy all mixed up. Get the party going. Okay, you can hear the nice rustling sound and everything is cooking in the Instapot. And I'm going to add a couple more ingredients. Hunt's diced 2 cans of tomatoes. Pop. Right there, right there. I like these canned tomatoes because the tomato flavor is nice and rich in these. Oof, got a boatload of sodium in there, but yeah, won't kill you. Don't go overboard. Get the tomato all mixed up. Starting to look like a soup, although a thick one. Might have to add a little bit of water to it to get it a little more soupy, but I'd give it another 4 to 5 minutes to cook in there before we add finally the beans and call it a day. So you saw me add 2 cans of Hunt's diced tomato in there. So what I'm going to do is now fill those cans with some water and add it in there to increase the soupiness of the soup. And let this bad boy kind of come to a near rolling boil before I add the beans. It's starting to look really cool. And I've added quite a bit of pepper and some red light chilies. I'm also gonna up the game here with crushed red pepper. I'm gonna add a little bit of it because, damn, I need my soup a little spicy, man. I'm gonna sprinkle about a spoon. I'm gonna let it cook for another 5 minutes before I add the beans, and that's how it looks right now. It's gonna come to a nice little bubbly point, at which point I'll add the beans. Okay, looks like it's coming along pretty good. So at this point I'm gonna add the final ingredient, which is cooked beans. So soaked in a whole bunch of different kinds of beans and pressure cooked them, which is why they're looking brown and so on and so forth. It's not terribly bad, it's not mushy or anything, but it's not been sitting around soaking in salt water or anything like that. It's fairly healthy. And so what I'm gonna do now is empty this. This is about, I'd say, about 1, 2, 3 cups of beans in there. Just empty this bad boy. And let this all simmer together. Ooh, it's looking good. Just gonna add a little more water to it because the beans was thick and sort of mushy, but that's all there is to it. And then let it simmer for the rest of its 30 minutes and we should be in business. So we're on the final lap here. Soup's boiling. I needed to reset the Instapot for one more round of cooking beyond the 30 minutes of saute that I had originally set it up to. So I added another 30 minutes, but I might just turn it off in 5 or 10 minutes. It's coming to a nice rolling boil. It's starting to look good, and it's got the soupy consistency. Make for a great meal. Okay, enjoy, folks.